If you talk every day about little stuff, you will talk less about big stuff.
Yeah,
if you talk every day about little stuff, little fractures, you won't have big fights because you're addressing stuff. And what it does is it creates less space for resentment to build up.
That's right. Hey everyone, Jimmy and Irene Rollins here with 2 equals 1.
2 equals 1.
Yes, 2 equally crazy people.
Equally committed.
To a marriage made one. And we love to get real and relevant on our podcast with XO Marriage because this is how people learn through real life, relevant issues, relevant topics, and raw. We just get real and raw, and this is how we actually work the tools that we learn in all kinds of environments that we read about in books.
I thought you were about to dance. You're like, work the tools.
Maybe I was.
The tools. Hey, work.
We got to practice them.
We do.
Yeah, so our podcast is all about that, and I love doing it with you, honey.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love doing it with you too.
Oh my gosh, I walked right into that one. But now we are here.
We're here.
Episode 8
of
season 2. Can you believe that?
Here we go.
Season 2, episode 8. And what is the topic for this one, babe?
Reoccurring conversations. We talked about recovering communication. And once you recover communication, you have to keep having conversations.
Yep.
So we're going to give you some reoccurring conversations that have to happen daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And I think we do pretty good at this. We've been doing pretty good at this, and you know, me much better than you. But but we're figuring this thing out. We are trying to teach couples not to just fight in their marriage, but to fight for their marriage. Actually, fighting is an indication of passion. It's an indication of care. And so we want to just equip couples that have the tools to have a good, healthy fight.
Yeah. And we do that by, we can't have a hard conversation and resolve a fight until we kind of learn how to have an easy one first.
That's it.
Like the easy ones help us build trust and get better so that by the time we get to the hard conversation, we're not struggling with it as much. Remember, we literally could not have a conversation unless our counselor was present.
Nothing.
We had to save all hard conversations for being in front of the counselor.
I remember Irene had this notebook, y'all, and I still see it occasionally because you got it around.
Really?
And it has all of these notes of how much you can't stand me. And I went through it one time, and you would talk about things that you wanted to talk to me about. And you had this notebook, and I completely 100% invaded your privacy.
That's horrible.
And I looked in the book, and I literally, when you would be writing something down, I'd be like, oh no, a conversation is coming.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, I would do everything. I dreaded it. I don't anymore.
Okay,
I don't anymore. I just kind of dread it. No, I'm joking.
Whatever.
And so how do we have, what regular
check-ins.
conversations do we need to be having?
Well, regular conversations, first of all, with ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to check in with myself daily. Like
checking in with yourself daily.
And what does that look like? That looks like, where am I at emotionally? Is what I want to check in with Jimmy about, is this a good time? Am I feeling like I'm not going to be defensive? Am I going to be able to be present?
Wow.
Am I going to be judgmental? Am I open to change?
Ooh,
if I am,
hold on. Pause. You mean to tell me that daily we're supposed to ask ourselves, I'm not even going to have this conversation unless I'm open to change.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow. Y'all listen to this. The conversation is not worth having unless you are open to change.
That's right.
That's so powerful.
So check in with yourself first, and then you can go check in with your spouse. And, you know, I was really bad at having really any conversation, whether it was hard or easy. So I needed help in this. And I love that, you know, our counselor gave us some tips, like keep it light, facts, easy, you know? So I'd check in with you. We had a boundary around it. We walk in the house, we would, from work, and we would have to finish our conversations in the car. So when we hit the house, you're not on your phone. We even trained the kids, come give us hugs. They'd be all on your legs hugging you. And then we would say, give mommy and daddy 15 minutes to check in.
Yeah.
And the kids even began to respect that. So in that 15 minutes, we'd ask, how was your day?
Exactly.
What's a high? What's a low? So for those people who have a hard time checking in.
Number one, how is your day?
Yep.
What's a high of your day? What's a low of your day? What's going to be a high of today? What was the low of yesterday?
Yeah.
A check-in. I want to tell you how I check in with myself. I check in with myself when I'm pulling out my phone because I check in with myself through friends. And so if I have to have a hard conversation, I check in with my good friend, Wayne Francis, and he's an accountability partner. And he just helps me. So I told him, hey man, I want to talk to Irene about something. And he just said this. I know how that feels. He validated my feeling of what I was complaining to him about you. I'm joking. And then he says, a bit of encouragement goes a long way. Jumping on planes, preaching, starting a business, and trying to give your family the most elevated life takes a toll, but some encouragement goes a long way. I know Irene is not ungrateful, but the both of you love and live high pressure output lives. I encourage you to look at it as an oversight. Anything that you weren't giving me was an oversight and not ignoring what you do. I mean, you got to express how you feel. She knows how much you value her affirmation, particularly in seasons like y'all are going through right now. Handle with care. This is a check-in for me.
That's so good.
I have a friend that keeps me accountable.
I love you, Wayne Francis.
Right?
You're amazing.
To being my best self, to being life-giving, to not being a jerk, to not being angry. And I've given someone else the keys to help me check in. So I check in with him so that you don't feel like I'm checking you.
That's good.
But I'm checking in with you. So number one, you said a good conversation starters, what are the highs and lows of your day or yesterday?
Because then I can gauge, okay, if you had, I can celebrate with you when there's something good happened. Oh my gosh, I got offered, this opportunity or what have you. We can celebrate together.
Yeah.
But then if you had a low, maybe you got a phone call from home and you found out someone passed away, I can mourn with you. I can grieve with you. I can check on you emotionally.
Wow. Number two, a good check-in question, and you guys need to be taking notes on this is, how are you feeling emotionally and physically? Listen, this has nothing to do with me and you.
Yeah.
How are you feeling emotionally? Well, I'm a little emotionally tired. Like after this podcast, guess what? We're going to be emotionally tired. We're going to laugh. We're going to eat some good food. We're not going to talk about anything. How are you? And we're going to ask, I'm going to say from today, how are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? I think these are questions that we need to be asking our spouses regularly, regular conversations.
Because then we can manage our own expectations. Because I'm not going to expect you to give me your, go outside and go on a 5-mile run when you've been.
First of all, I don't run.
Oh, well,
I walk, trot.
But physically, if you express that you're not feeling well, then I'm not going to expect you to do something that you're not
absolutely
in the right frame of mind to do or process.
Yeah.
It might not be a good time for me to bring up that, something that's going on with our kids or what have you.
Yeah, I think the next one we've done really good at, and I think for me, I hate to pat myself on the back, but I do tell you where I am spiritually.
Yeah.
And I think where you are spiritually, asking your spouse that, where are you spiritually? Because in low seasons, I'll be like, hey, I'm not in a good place right now. I'm having a hard time connecting with God. And then the result of that is you now know why I've had a hard time connecting with you.
Yeah.
If I have a hard time connecting with God, I may say, I'm really having a hard time forgiving myself. And really what this has opened up in our relationship is it's armed you with information to pray for me with or for.
Not only will I pray for you, then when I ask permission, if you'd like some thoughts, then I can give suggestions on things you can do to, you want me to find a devotional, because I'm all obsessed with different devotionals and stuff like that. Can I send you something like that? Would you read it with me? Did you need to go to a conference to be with your friends who are pastors, have your hang time, hear from God? So, I'm all there. I'm all there. But, that is deeper conversation. That is deep to the point where when we're feeling connected spiritually with someone, we're nearing the ultimate intimacy before sex.
That's right.
Before physical intimacy. That spiritual and emotional connection, we are really building up a case for that connection, right? For the physical connection later on.
Absolutely. I think that next thought, we've talked about this in hard conversations, but sharing appreciations daily. Just starting, hey, I appreciate, and you can even like so appreciate, I so appreciate, like, because I know you're going to clean the house today, or I know you're going to schedule our stuff today, or I know, something that I know you're going to do, like sharing appreciations daily, it just makes it permanent.
Yeah.
Right? It lets your spouse know every single day I notice you.
Right.
Every single day I see you.
Yeah.
Every single day I regard you.
Yeah.
Every single day I appreciate you. Every day, share appreciations.
Yep. And then, the next thing, number 5, is we want to check in about just low-level assumptions that we may have made. Like, maybe I assumed you didn't want to talk today when I called and you were in the car. And what I noticed was that you were distracted. What I made up was that you didn't want to talk to me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I just checked.
No, not like I didn't want to talk to you, but
yeah. So, but I keep it low level because remember, this is a low level check-in.
Yeah.
So were you just distracted? Like, I clarify in that moment.
I think one of the things about this with us, because our lives are traveling, and I love when we do this on a daily basis, because you can say, you even asked me this, are you in a bad mood?
I just ask you now.
Are you in a bad mood?
Don't try to guess.
You're in a bad mood. What you're doing is checking in. Can I read your mind for a second? Right? It looks like you're in a bad mood. You know what I mean? Like, and I get to define where I'm at so you don't become defensive. When you define your emotional state in a moment, like, I'm tired. Today I'm tired. After this, recording, we're going to be tired. After this podcast, we're going to be tired. Guess what? Now we can assume that we're going to be a little edgy. So instead of being edgy, we're not going to talk about anything difficult. Right?
Stick to news.
So
in the sport.
In these assumptions, daily assumptions, they really bring you to reality and clarification of where you are in your emotions.
But then we also, babe, I love how we address the small annoyances, address the small cracks.
So that's number 6.
Yes, number 6.
Yeah.
I wrote an article about this. You can find it on the XO Marriage website. But when we ignore the small cracks, they eventually create like a huge rift in our relationship.
That's right.
And so like when we discuss little things that annoy us, they don't have to build up. They don't have to become this thing that, divides us. And so now that we have created this normalcy, we don't bring an issue to the discussion, the small crack, unless we have a possible solution.
That's it.
So it's super easy because then I'm just communicating, hey, babe, I noticed that you left your dishes again, I said again. I hope that does that bother you when I say that? Okay, but you left because you do. You left your dishes again.
I do.
Basically by the sink instead of rinsing it out. Like, can you just like empty it out and rinse it out and put it in the sink for me? That way in the morning it's not crusty and hard to get out.
I love this because what I'm noticing is when you do this, like now, what you're really saying is, I know this is petty. I know this is not a big thing, but it would just really help me out.
Yeah.
And I love because you disarm it. Like, you bringing it up doesn't make it a big thing because of the regularity of our conversation.
Yeah.
And I think couples need to really understand that if you talk every day about little stuff, you will talk less about big stuff.
Yeah.
If you talk every day about little stuff, little fractures, you won't have big fights because you're addressing stuff. And what it does is it creates less space for resentment to build up.
That's right.
And so this is how to have good fights. This is not just fighting in your marriage, but fighting for your marriage. You have to have regular conversations, regular, everyday weather. How's the weather? We laugh at this one, but every single day, we wake up. How did you sleep? How did you sleep? And it just becomes laughter now, but it's just a regular check-in.
Yeah.
And in the mornings,
know what I'm like literally, what am I dealing with here?
Yeah. Did you sleep
Jimmy
good?
Rollins,
Are you going to have an attitude today? What you're saying is, are you going to have an attitude today?
Do I need to go out and run errands and come back when you're feeling a little better? Anyway, because we both work from home. So I want to check in about how you're feeling. So small check-ins are great. But it's when we have those hard conversations you have led me in this.
Yeah.
I appreciate so much how you have led us in having hard conversations. I've learned so much about you, about timing and when to have them. And can you like just talk about that, like how we have done that in our marriage? We've had hard conversations.
Yes.
I remember sitting in front of the counselor and she said, I looked at her and I'm like, first of all, how does he do that?
Yeah, honest.
And she's like, what? And I'm like, that whole honesty thing, like, how does he just share everything that's on his mind?
I love this part where she said this. Like, she earned her money this day.
Yeah.
What did she say to you?
She said, Irene, Jimmy sharing and being, well, she said it, butt naked honest is not a bad thing. It's called honesty.
You should try it.
You should try it sometime.
Like, yes,
and I'm like, oh gosh. So she was right though. Like I had a hard time being honest about how I really felt about something. So having hard conversations was something I dreaded.
Yes.
But
we got good at it.
I got good at it. But how it started for us was finding a time and a place.
Yes.
To having the hard
finding a time and a place.
Dear God in heaven.
We want to encourage you. Fridays, 1 day a week, 1 hour a day.
That was it for us.
1 day a week for 1 hour.
That's all we could
day,
handle.
1 hour. So we did it on Fridays because like Fridays was my day off when I was pastoring. So Friday morning at 11 o'clock, from 11 to 12, we'd have a hard conversation. And then based on how that went, we'd see if we go to lunch. But from 11 to 12, here's what I want to encourage you if you're listening. If you don't schedule hard conversations will take over your schedule. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, you won't want to talk. You're going to be moody. You're going to keep score. And here's what we did. So time and place, 1 day a week for 1 hour, right?
Because it got exhausting.
It got exhausting.
When we were in crisis.
Yes.
It felt like we were always talking about something hard. And there wasn't ever any lightness in our relationship.
None.
So then I dreaded being around you.
Or quiet.
And you, me.
Or it was just quiet.
Yeah.
And I think that a key to our hard conversations was writing down what we wanted to talk about. So here's the deal. Our conversations are on Fridays at 11 o'clock from 11 to 12. So Saturdays, Irene would tick me off. Sunday, she might and I'm writing stuff down and I'm I can't wait to talk about this. And then Sunday, and then I'd see something on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm writing it down. And then on Thursday, we're going to send each other the list because we want to prepare. We want to prepare for this hard conversation, right? But you have to send a disarming. I want to talk about communication, not what you had said, not detailed descriptions, not da-da-da. And what was crazy to me is when you write down something on Saturday that you can't talk about till the next Friday, you realize on the Thursday before the Friday, you're an idiot. I could not believe some of the stuff I was on the list. And I'm telling you right now, giving space between hard conversations, it makes you realize you are crazy. Two, equally crazy, equally committed. And when we started doing that, less and less stuff made it to the list. Because literally, I looked at the list one time on a Wednesday, and I was like, you're 4 years old, Jimmy. You want to talk about that? Good that made the list?
Good self-awareness.
Okay. I got your list still, too. So hard conversations only are hard because you make them hard. Yeah. Schedule them. An hour, 1 day a week. Write everything down. On the day before, you're going to send a non-offensive list to your spouse. Maybe you have a group text of hard conversations, a group text called Hard Conversations. So you can go back and look at how dumb you guys are, after you look at it, because that's what we did. And then you have all of the talking boundaries that we gave you, right?
Mirror and validate.
You're going to mirror and validate, right? Watch this now. Your goal is not to be right. Your goal is to be righteous.
Yes.
Right? You're going to listen to understand, not listen to respond.
Correct.
You're going to give your spouse detailed, I'm talking about undivided attention. You're going to mirror back what they said. You're going to put your phone away.
Get curious.
You're going to get curious because after this, you're going to make out.
You're so crazy. But here's the deal. That Friday conversation, I stopped dreading them because it gave us space all throughout the week to just have fun.
To sit
on the couch, enjoy the kids, play with the dog. You know, we even got how many bulldogs? We got so many bulldogs over the years because why? They were therapeutic. They made us get small and just, you know, when you have this high-pitched voice and you're playing with the dog.
That sounded like, I don't know what that was.
I love that. I love it.
Guys, I don't know what that was.
Oh my gosh.
What was that, Jimmy?
I know. I don't know, but it's fun. And that's what I love about you.
Yes.
And it softens up the environment of our home and our hearts. So by the time we do get to that hard conversation, we start with those appreciations about what I appreciated you this week. And then we get into the things that I'm prepared. I'm not dreading it anymore.
No.
I know your intentions are in the right place, that you've sought God. You're not just bringing up a list. You're making sure that the small cracks are taken care of. You're taking care of anything that, you know, would hinder you from being close to me.
Yes.
I love that. So now I have reframed hard conversations.
Absolutely.
I used to dread them. And now I look at them as opportunities to get closer to my husband.
Absolutely. You know what I'm excited about? We have a young couple in a future episode.
Yep.
Very quickly, that's coming.
Yeah.
That we're going to teach them how to have a hard conversation, and we're going to do on-the-spot coaching with them on how to talk through something that many young married, older married, no matter how long you've been married, are still struggling through today. How to have hard conversations. But we don't want you to forget, if you have regular conversations, you will go through all of the rules of engagement and all of the things that allow hard conversations to be hard, but not stay in your marriage long. And so we're excited about future episodes on the 2=1 marriage podcast on XO. There's going to be show notes, especially with the 8 core emotions, because if you do not dominate these 8 core emotions, you can't really express how you feel. And so we're excited. We want you to, let me tell y'all what, journey with us and Dave and Ashley, Sean and Lynette through Mastering Marriage with XO Premium. Sign up, guys. It's $39 a month. And guess what? Divorce and counseling costs a whole lot more.
And here's the deal. 2 sessions, 1 hour, where we're getting to practice.
Yes.
It's so much better than sitting in a marriage counseling session, which you should still be doing.
Yes.
You should still be in marriage counseling. However, this is an opportunity to sit with peers and learn from other people's stories and learn from other people's experiences as they're getting laser coached or as they're being taught by a Dave and Ashley or you and I or Sean and Lynette. So we love coaching and helping not just talk at couples, but get in there with them and practice these skills so we can change their marriage, and it's going to change the legacy for generations because their kids and all those around us are watching us navigate in a healthy way.
All my life. Y'all guys hear? I pray for someone like you, and I sure hope you do the same thing too.
You don't even know the words.
I don't even know the lyrics.
Hilarious.
But I just want you to know we're going to have fun. We're going to dance today. We got so much more opportunity to enjoy the fruit of our marriage, because we no longer just fight in our marriage. We fight for our marriage. Stay tuned for the next episode of the 2=1 Marriage Podcast. We'll see you soon. Next time on the 2=1 Marriage Podcast. If you're not making fun deposits in seasons where you're not arguing, seasons where you're not fighting, you don't have anything to withdraw from.
Yeah.
And so I think our love, our hearts are bankrupt of fun. We want you to tune in to XO Marriage, everything XO Marriage. They can go to our website. Guess what? They can sign up for Mastering Marriage.
Yes.
Where they get 2
coaching calls a month.
Wow.
An hour. You can sit down with your spouse and literally dive into just tools and get coached by Dave and Ashley Willis and Lynette and Sean Reed, and you and I do it as well. And we're all kinds of marriage educators who are going to help enhance your marriage, and just the tools that we hear about when we're listening to a message. You know, at a conference, somebody speaks, we're listening to a podcast, but to actually get live on a Zoom and practice and hear just it broken down into smaller incremental pieces that we can digest.
You can go to www.xomarriage.com to sign up